Hello, Internet! Welcome to Art's Art. My name is Art. We're gonna do some art today. I'm going to be making a sort of this barbarian raider character. A while ago, I had played this game called Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. The whole game's visually fantastic, but the enemy design in particular I thought was amazing. They just had so much weight and so much presence. That sense of like implacability and that sense of imposingness. Is that a word? Imposingness? Anyway, we're gonna call it a word. It's my show, I can do what I want. I've already started building a form. I've got an armature, obviously, and we're just covering it in clay right now, and we're gonna get it rolling, start posing him, and see how we feel. We're definitely gonna put him in a scene later on, but for now, we're just gonna start with this guy. I want him to be pretty big and imposing, like pretty buff, but not like ripped. So I want him to have some body fat. I don't want him to have a lot of muscle definition. So now I have to decide what sort of pose, what sort of action he's gonna be in. Let's see here. What I sort of had in mind was, let's make him an axe. I wanna make him an axe. So like, maybe all I want him to do is just be walking. I think this is the pose that we're gonna stick with. There's two things I can do right now. One, I could build out the rest of the scene to see how it feels, or I can get into some of the more design specifics that can possibly help inform me a little bit more about the story. I think I'd rather do that first, because otherwise, I'd get into building like this a big thing and another form, and I think I'd rather concentrate on this just for the moment. So let's get that going. I want to give him some boots, actually. He looks like he's wearing Uggs. Let's give him some pants. Everyone needs pants. We're just sketching right now, We're just trying to like answer some basic questions about like, all right, what sort of thing are you wearing? I don't really care to get any of the details just right. Give him some arm guards. Everyone needs arm guards. They look cool. He's looking more like a shirtless knight by the second. And who knows? I started this thing thinking, oh, it's gonna be like a barbarian, but it might end up being more like an evil knight or an evil bandit or something, because, sometimes things just change. It's not like this is commissioned work or anything. What's funny is you know what the final product's gonna be. You're from the future, and you've seen the finished sculpture. In the old thumbnail, he's gonna be wearing a giant belt, like a girdle. That's a medieval word for you, a girdle. Because I think this guy is smart enough to know you don't want to get stabbed in your tummy-tums. Let's see, what do we think about that? I don't love that. Maybe we'll change our minds later, but for now I can say that I don't really love this design. I hate it so much. It's so generic and way too clean, and just doing nothing that I actually wanted to do. See, I was thinking either he's gonna carry a deer skull as kind of like an aggressive shield, or wear a deer skull as a helmet, or maybe a ram skull or something. So the question is, does he wear like a hat? Oh dear, I'm silly. So I have been neglecting one very important thing, which is the head. A character's head, I feel like, will tell you quite a lot about who the character is. I mean, it sounds obvious when you say it, but you spend all this time working on a stupid outfit when I really should have just been working on the head. You know what? He's starting to look like Kratos, especially with this damn axe. You know what? I'm not gonna give him an axe. I hate this axe. It just feels like too obvious. And the whole Kratos thing is really getting to me. I'm gonna go ahead and do hair, because that bald look is really messing with my vibe. I do want to put him behind a mask, because I think that not being able to see his face is going to contribute a lot to the menace. I want him to be more otherworldly and more demonic. So, having done some of this stuff, I think it's now time to start composing the entire piece. I'm going to put another character up here somewhere. And it's gonna be like, again, like a little ramp up. Let's make another form. For this one, I'm trying to intentionally make it quite small in comparison to this guy. So, here we go. I'll have to start making a decision about who this character is pretty soon. I could do just the obvious normal girl versus supernatural raider, right? Druidic raider kind of thing. But I was thinking, what if I just reused one of my previous characters? I think I'm going to make this character this girl. This is something I sculpted for class a little while ago. What if instead of a big old ramp, what if we have like a little pillar, a little rock pillar or something? Something like this. And she, being a winged creature, has flown up to sort of take a quick refuge, and I can add other monsters down here. Oh man, I've been making you stare at my phone all this time. Sorry, guys. And yeah, okay, I think that's it. I think we have our idea. So it's gonna be a fairy girl up here. Maybe she's got a little Pokemon pet with her, just like the bust over here, and he's coming after her, and yeah, and she's trying to get away from him, right? Okay, that's our idea. That's it. That's our idea. Got it. Okay, let's take all this stuff down. Great. The sculpt is turning into something completely different than what I thought it was gonna be. Holy smokes! You can't even see this, the entire sculpture from here. All right, I gotta do something about that. Okay, so now I'm gonna start forming this character into something presentable, and then start adding, you know, the other elements to this thing. You know what? Before I lock this in, let me try the crouching position, and who knows? That might be more interesting. I can already feel it. This is gonna be a no. It's like, you know, like superhero landing pose and whatever, right? Like it doesn't have that like sort of like floaty, lithe energy that a fairy character would have. So okay, at least we know. So I'm gonna go back to what we had just now. This is gonna be good. You guys, this is gonna be great. Oh, it's gonna be awesome. Okay, yeah, I know what the sculpt is gonna be now. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mock up a dress for our fairy girl with some paper towels, actually. I find this to be a nice and fast way of testing to see if a design works without spending an eternity trying to do an actual clay model. So now that we're getting into making the dress and the head, I feel like this is starting to become a character of her own rather than being exactly the green fairy that we started off with. We'll see in a second if I end up going back to that or if this is gonna turn into something of her own, but it's starting to really feel like this wants to be something different. I think we're getting pretty close. There's a couple of little things that I still need to work on. There's a couple of small, tiny, I think in the end, it's not so much that I'm gonna use this character, rather I'm just gonna do a fairy character. The dress is a little bit Tinkerbell-y, and it just feels a little bit fancy. I want this character in the scene that we're working on to have a much more linen-y, flowy dress feel, sort of a all-natural fabrics, one with nature kind of look. Now, I can try to give myself a little break and give her like a ponytail or even a loose ponytail or something like that in order to not have to sculpt such complicated hair layering. But that's not the right thing for the sculpt, unfortunately. So I have to actually do loose flowy hair. Now it's time to start making these gorilla monsters. I've never made a gorilla before, but the good news is it's feeling like gorillas are mostly like people, except with funny proportions. And yeah. Okay, it's not that wasn't so bad. It took a long time to do, but I'm pretty happy with the result. And now it's time to replace our paper towel dress with an actual clay one. I actually kind of wish I can keep the white of the paper towel. This is one of those cases where I'm really jealous of illustrators or even digital sculptors who can use, oh, I don't know, the entire visible spectrum on their artwork. But that's okay, you know, what are you gonna do, right? So we've done a lot of work on this today. I'm gonna put this one aside, get one of these guys. They're looking a little plain. This lamp arm sucks. What I'm gonna do is try and see if I can't make them a little bit more interesting. Make a guy's upper torso, like a human upper torso, and maybe one arm and another shoulder, and his head come out of the gorilla's back. Oh yeah, it adds such a nice supernatural element to this. I mean, this was supernatural before, but now it's two supernatural forces fighting each other. So I'm fairly happy with this. Let's do a little bit of a progress check and put the whole composition together just to see how this, you know, filled in design plays into that. Here's the other gorilla. Oh, sha! Okay. So I think let's work on this antler guy next, because I think I really need some refinement here before, you know, we can really start to form some decent opinion about where we're at. Okay. I know I just said I'm gonna work on this guy next. But my problem is that I'm just not really feeling this design at all. And I don't really know what to do about it. I think I know what the problem is. The problem is it doesn't feel like this is a party that can be led by this guy. Why is there like these magical constructs that's led by this like wild barbarian? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Man, I just gotta really rethink what we're doing with this guy. Because it's just not working for me right now. I'm just kind of drawing blanks right now, so I think the best thing to do is to just go for it. Nothing happens unless I start moving my hands on some clay anyway. What if he's like what if he's kind of like a battle mage? You know, what if he's more like Sauron? Still not there, but I think we're a lot closer than we were a few minutes ago. I think. Now the question is, like, does this look like they belong together? Because before it didn't at all. And now it feels like kind of does, right? Or at least it feels more like they belong. It's such a weird mishmash of styles. Now I don't know what to do. Okay. I've got a problem. The more I work on this sculpt, the more I don't like it. What we have here is something that isn't very congruent. You've got the fairy lady and you've got this wizard, now a wizard, and they're basically European, but the gorillas are gorillas, and gorillas are African. So it just doesn't, it just makes no sense. So that's thing one. Thing two is that as big as it is, it's still very scrunched. based on their actions, they should be much farther away from each other, like running at each other from far, far, far away. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is drop these gorillas. They just don't feel like they belong. All right, I'm going to change his pose quite a lot. So what I'm gonna do instead is put him in an attack posture, okay? The dragons can even be his minions instead. You know, that could be interesting. Okay, now, so I'm sort of imagining if I'm trying to avoid. She's twisted the wrong way. Okay. Something like this. I don't like that. I'm going to twist this guy around, and instead of being post-attack, I'm going to make him pre-attack. I'm having kind of a hard time imagining what exactly she's doing. Is she avoiding an attack? Yeah, I mean, I think she's avoiding an attack. Certainly this one is coming her way. Okay, I think this might work. I just need to give her a weapon. Maybe it is a spear. I was thinking a little knife, but maybe it is a spear. Oh my goodness. I think we may finally have it. You guys, I think finally this is it. He's coming after her, obviously. That idea was present from minute one. But instead of her being helpless, she's on the counter attack. Just made it through, like twirling in Matrix style, stabbing this guy in the gut with the spear. I live for moments like this. I live for moments like this. When you thought that it was gonna not work, and then suddenly it works. God, yeah, this is nothing like what I thought it was gonna be. Like, nothing like what I thought it was gonna be. But that's okay, because I hated it. It was like having a bunch of action figures in a scene together, and it didn't feel like a sculpture. But okay, yeah, so now that we've finally decided on the idea, it's time to actually get sculpting, right? Some of you have probably been thinking like, dude, when are you gonna actually start sculpting? And when are you gonna stop messing around with like low definition lumps of clay and actually getting to putting in some details? Well, turns out now. Finally, believe me, I'm thinking the same thing. But I'm glad that I took the time and to go through all that process, because now I feel like I'm gonna end up with something that I'm much happier with and whose fundamental concept I actually believe in. Whereas before, where I was literally trying to convince myself, it's like, oh yeah, this is cool, right? Yeah, this is cool, right? Yeah, yeah, right? Like, this is cool, right? But now I really do think that this is something worth putting time into detailing everything out. So yeah, this is starting to really come together. Obviously the guy has turned into like this demon, actually demon guy, which I think really helps clarify the idea and helps unify him with the little dragon spirits that used to be the fairy girls' familiars, but now they belong to the evil guy, so I feel like it really helps congeal the idea. And honestly tells a better story, right? Like in my mind, this demonic raider has come to invade the home or town or city that this fairy princess lives in. And I call her a fairy princess. I don't even know why, like there's no indication on her body that she is a princess. But for some reason, I don't think this would be an ordinary fairy that would come to single-handedly take down this dragon spirit conjuring demon. Or maybe it is. Maybe it would be more interesting if it's not somebody special, but rather just like an ordinary person. At least an ordinary person within this like community anyway. What do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments as to what exactly is happening here. I'd love to know how other people interpret this piece. But yeah, in terms of the actual process, it's almost like I'm starting over because I'm keeping almost nothing of the original concept and keeping almost nothing of even the physical sculpting. Only just the clay forms are sticking around, but I'm doing entirely new head sculpts. I'm basically refinishing the entire body. Honestly, at this point in the process, most, if not all, of the big creative decisions have already been made. And so much of it is just me nudging around tiny pieces of clay until things start looking right. So I don't really know how much detail to go into. I mean, there's plenty of little things to decide, like what kind of boots, what kind of wings, what kind of hair. I don't know how interesting a lot of that stuff is. So why don't you let me know in the comments, actually? Why don't you let me know, is this too much detail? Is this not enough detail? I'd love to know what's working and what's not. It is my first video after all, so, you know, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, we are getting into final assembly. We're gonna put this all together and then put in the dragons, and that's it. So I need to lock in the position of these various pieces. I think what I may do is like, yeah, I don't know what to do. I start using words and I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what to do and I don't know what I'm talking about. 1, 2, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go screw these together first and then come back. Oh, no! So much just happened. Oh my goodness, so much just happened. God damn it. Just... It's okay, alright. Damage. Thankfully, it looks like the brunt of the damage is actually on the leg. What is not so easy to fix is that oh my goodness, it's loose. The wire has damaged the clay around it, and now it's arms, spear, face. Oh man, just like, I'm just dying over here. Okay, so now that I've got these two figures kind of sort of nailed down, it's time to start thinking about what shape are these dragons gonna be in exactly. And I do have a couple of ideas. Maybe it'll be like little spikies or little flames. But honestly, I don't think that's gonna be very interesting. These guys are almost like accessories to the two characters at this point. So I think in edit, I'm just gonna let this fly into time lapse so we can go through all this footage really quickly, and I will see you after the epic final reveal. Okay, so here we are. It's been quite a battle to get here. I was meant to take just maybe 2-3 weeks to do this one, but it ended up taking way longer than I thought it was going to. But I'm glad I went through with it because I'm very, very happy with the final result. Not to say that there's nothing I would do different or nothing I would change about it, but all in all, I'm very, very happy with the final result. So that's it. That's a sculpture. Please do let me know what you think in the comments. What you like about it, what you don't like about it, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, you know, that kind of thing. So that's it for this one. I'll see you next time. Bye.